Hello, everyone. If you're new here, hi, I'm Bree, and if you're returning, welcome back. This is going to be a little bit of a different video style than you're probably used to here on this channel. Maybe not. We'll see. But I found it to be important today to talk about Three Eye Atlas. Now, before I even allow a channeled message on Three Eye Atlas, I want to talk to you about some of the things that I've been tuning into since I came into the awareness of this interstellar object. And one of the things that really stood out to me yesterday when I was connecting was that this Three Eye Atlas is not something that we have a context for. This is why so many of us are struggling to describe or describe what this is. It is because we in our minds have this concept that it's either a comet or it's an alien ship. And it's like we can't fathom anything that is not those two things that we have a context for. But in truth, this is really something that kind of blends these two. And it's this plasma that is conscious, which is, again, something very new for humanity. We're starting to wake up as a collective to the fact that we as humans aren't the only ones with consciousness. We're starting to recognize that everything holds consciousness. I'm even thinking of, this makes me giggle a little, but the movie Frozen, how water holds memory. This is a truth, that water holds memory. This is an absolute truth. So what I want to do in this video is basically just go to the Akashic records and ask some questions. Ask some questions about this, see what we can discover. From what I'm seeing right now is that it's headed towards Jupiter. I'm also receiving that it is a potentiality, although it's not a fixed potentiality at this point. But one of the things that downloaded through me yesterday when I was meditating with Three Eye Atlas was that it will do some refueling once it reaches the moons of Jupiter. And what I saw in my clairvoyance yesterday with this was that we have, and I don't have any of the technical names, but we have satellites and camera equipment near Jupiter that will actually, and we'll see if this turns out to be true, and I'm not claiming that I know everything, and if I'm not telling you that this is an absolute matter-of-fact thing, but what I saw as a potentiality was that Three Eye Atlas would go to the moons of Jupiter and refuel at the moons of Jupiter, and we would get imagery of it. We would actually have pretty and not just crummy visual. A lot of you have seen the images of Three Eye Atlas. It just looks like a blob in the middle of space. There's not really much detail going on. It's kind of like, okay, what is this? This could be anything. But it seems like there's a potentiality that we'll actually get the imagery of this. And the way that I understand it is this is going to help us prepare for somewhat of the real deal in 2027. And some of you might be really new to some of this information because you might not be in my memberships. And if you're not in my memberships, why not? They're very fairly priced. And I bring through so much stuff in there all the time. And I'm not saying I can tune into something that you can't. However, when you sit with my energies, this will activate your own gifts. I don't want to be sitting here holding all y'all's hand my whole life. I want to teach you to fish so that for the rest of your life you can feed yourself. My intention here is never just to give you one yummy meal, okay? My ego's online, so I'm just going to go ahead and let my ego rest and then just tune into the Akashic Records guides to see what they can inform us of for the highest and best good of all. And no driving or operating machinery because this could get you into a meditative state. could shift the brain waves. It could, I'm also seeing soul memory is a potentiality to be activated in this session. Ooh, okay. That's pretty common. If I don't ever say it, I'm sorry, but that's pretty common. Soul memory to be activated, revisited, remembered, reintegrated. Okay, so I'm just going to drop in. No driving or operating machinery if I haven't said that already. Let's just see what we can receive in the Akashic records. I'm now asking to open the Akashic records for planet Earth. Thank you. I'm now asking to open the Akashic records for our solar system. Thank you. And then I'm also asking to have the galactic Akash opened up so that we can triangulate a message here. Thank you. Okay, so 3i Atlas is my topic today. I'm calling about the Akashic Records guides of the highest Christed light to assist us with this, help us understand. Okay, so right immediately we're getting the Arcturian and Pleiadian emissaries again. They're coming in. They're showing me this term. They're saying welcome wagon. And then they're showing me lots of other interstellar objects. And then they're saying welcome wagon. So what they're showing me is that 3i Atlas is part of a system. Interesting. It's part of a system of plasmoid beings. And what they're showing me about these plasmoid beings is that it's very it's like a quick silver energy, in that it's this liquid sort of consciousness that can take on any form. And they're showing me kind of similar to the archangels. Yes, the archangels are plasma and light, but we will often see them in a winged form. They're not actually in a winged form, but this is something that we will see as a human because it gives us a context to connect with these beings that are not in a form anymore. Or for the archangel's case, they were never in a form. Urahanarai. And they're showing me that 3i Atlas was here for more than just Earth. They're sharing that they've said this through me before. But they're showing me that 3i Atlas is doing some attunements for the portals in our system. And they're showing me the portals in our system are the planets and the sun. Okay. And they're showing me that some of the Mars in particular, Mars was, they're saying, out of attunement, out of alignment. It was the way that they're showing me this is the Pleiadian and Arcturian emissaries. They're showing me that the connection between Mars and the great central sun had been damaged, distorted. Oh, okay. And then they're saying the same thing with Venus. Venus and Mars both. It's difficult to tell how these got there, but there were veils put into place for Mars and Venus. Same thing with Earth. Although with Mars and Venus, it looks very different. But they're showing me that this 3i Atlas is basically a tuning fork. and it recalibrated the energies of both Mars and Venus to become active as portals again. Interesting. Okay. And they're showing me this is important because they're showing me the word humalactic. And I'm just questioning because I did hear that term somewhere and they're showing me they're showing me that many of us are going to hear this term because we're becoming galactic citizens. We've talked about this before, but this is different. The way that they're showing me this is that our solar system, each one of the planets has a specific role, a specific frequency, a specific connection point. There are certain star systems that can only drop in to our dimension through certain planets. And some of the planets had been they're saying switched to dormant as a portal transfer or as a Stargate. They were closed. And what they're showing me that is a portal can't be closed to transmit, but a portal can be closed to receive. Interesting. So what they're saying is Mars and Venus had been closed to receive. Okay. Same thing with Earth. And this is changing, but they're saying it has to change over time. It cannot change so swiftly. They're saying you humans, you're so quick to want to open up all the gateways, the stargates again. Take your time with this is what they're saying. They're saying take your time with this. And they're showing me it has to do with the rays, the primordial rays. They're saying primordial rays. I'm thinking of the archangels, and they're saying similar. This message that they're giving me now, it feels to be that they're saying sensationalism is something that we would all be benefited to recognize. And they're just showing me this piece about Jupiter again, about Three Eye Atlas going to Jupiter. They're showing me that if it turns out that us having this imagery and data will do more harm than good, then it won't come through. Something will blockade it. And they're even showing me that some amateur astronomers could have gotten imagery of Three Eye Atlas, but because of the vessel of the astronomer, interesting, connecting with this object is going to activate dormant DNA. So if a being is trying to access Three Eye Atlas, but they're resistant to turning their DNA back on, then the connection will start to feel something of fear. Okay. Or they're kind of showing me circuits right now and how if you put too much power into something, it can blow. So they're showing me that sometimes we might want to connect with Three Eye Atlas and we're not primed for it. We need to do a little bit more work on our energy field in order for us to receive from it, because it is a high frequency, very high frequency. It's also an interdimensional. This is what they wanted me to mention. The Three Eye Atlas is interdimensional. This is why it is so anomalous and so strange to us as humans. But what they're saying is that this welcome wagon that they're referencing is not just with the other stars, it's this interdimensional connection. We're going to kind of understand frequency, vibration, things like teleportation, biolocation. We're going to start to. They're saying, I said collectively, they're saying we're going to start to understand these things individually. The collective level, we're a little ways off. We're a little ways off from grasping these things as a collective. Okay, and I'm just asking, it looks like things are kind of wrapping up here. Yeah, okay. And so I'm just going to ask them, is there any guidance that you have for us on how to tune into this? Should we be working with it? They're very laissez-faire about this. They're kind of like, it's up to you. It's up to you. It's up to you. Do you feel a resonance? If you feel a resonance, then it'll be assisting you to activate dormant DNA. If you don't feel a resonance, don't worry. There will be more to come. There will be more to come. Okay. Okay. Any closing messages for us? Nope. They got it all through. Okay. All right. So we're just gonna close these Akashic records. We're gonna close all of the Akashic records that we opened up today, sealing them in love and light. Just asking to be returned to the present physical moment. Ooh. They're showing me a lot in that one. It's a really interesting object. It's a really interesting object, 3i Atlas. It is definitely piquing our curiosity. And it's definitely waking us up, and it's definitely, what I gathered from this was the silver lining that we're all going to receive from all of this is that the people in the world that really are just out to make a buck, and they are just out to get the clicks, and they are just out to play an old game that is breaking down. The 3D game is breaking down. The 3D game is breaking down. So if you do sense some shifts in the next 3 to 6 months as far as to who you're trusting for information or who you're looking to for inspiration, guidance, information, this should become, what they're showing me is that this should become pretty obvious over the next few months, because some are going to take this and run with it, and they're going to go with their fear stories. You should probably know those outlets, those parties, those sources don't really have your best interest at heart. So kind of take the silver lining of knowing that this is going to be dissolving some areas that are feeding us a whole bunch of delusion and illusion. Those parties are going to be kind of exposed. They're going to be exposed. And I'll just be honest that I have been really hesitant to even talk about 3i Atlas because of what I'm seeing happening with it, how I'm seeing all of these distortions happen around it, and these stories of sensationalism happen around it. I get no fear from this at all. The only thing that brings about fear for me is my concern that the population will be duped by certain individuals. But I think we got this, right? We got this. We'll be all right. We can discern. Let me know in the comments if you feel like you're able to discern and you're going to be able to walk this walk with grace You're going to be able to walk this tightrope without staring down the whole time. He's going to do it with grace. Okay? Let me know. No, really, let me know. Like, I don't get very many comments here, and I really like this channel to grow. I'd love to serve more for free, to be honest. But growth is going to be really helpful. So comment it up. Share this with a friend. Like it. Subscribe to the channel and all that good stuff. Okay, let's take a deep breath together. Hold. And release. Namaste.